searching for a dream home but need help choosing the right property or the right location? You've come to the right channel. A very warm welcome to Magicbricks Now. This is Property Hotline, the show that answers all your real estate queries. I'm Kavita Krishnan. Today we are answering all your queries related to buying, selling or investing in real estate. Our guest for the evening is Mudassir Zaidi. Mudassir is managing partner at SNZ Business Essentials. Mudassir, thank you very much for joining us. So let's get started, Mudassir. Before that, Mudassir, I need to inform all my viewers about this news that's just come in today. This is about an IT-AT Income Tax Appellate Tribunal ruling. There is relief coming in for all those couples who jointly own property. Now, the IT-AT in Mumbai on Wednesday ruled that in a property that is co-owned by spouses, only the spouse who's invested in the property needs to pay capital gains tax. That's going to bring in a lot of relief for all of you who jointly buy property. Up until now, remember, both the husband and the wife had to pay capital gains tax. Now, this ruling came in the case of a medical professional, Vandana Bhulchandani. An income tax officer noted that she had not disclosed capital gains arising from the sale of a 2.12 crore property in Parel that she jointly held with her husband, according to her IT returns. Now, despite having informed this IT officer that her husband had made the entire investment, the officer claimed that the entire arrangement was done to avoid taxes. However, the IT-AT observed that since the husband had bought the property and the purchase and consecutive sale was reflected in his accounts and IT returns, Bhulchandani need not pay capital gains tax on the property. We'll get you more on that. Now, we are being told that this will probably have repercussions on other taxes as well that you pay as a couple if you're jointly owning property. We will get you more details on that. But for now, let's get back to Property Hotline and a Facebook query that's come in from Asim Srivastav. He wants to know about the future prospects of Prestige Technostar. It's a commercial project in Brookfield, Bangalore. He says the minimum price is 1.65 crore rupees for 2,500 square feet of office space. Now, Mudassir, he wants to know if this is a good investment bet. What would you say?
See, overall, Prestige is a good developer. Prestige has had a great track record in terms of building great office spaces across Bangalore since Bangalore started developing over 20 years ago. And it's one of the developers which is really among the top-notch developers in that location. So overall, from that count, he's in safe hands because the track record is great. The location per se, Brookfield, is also good. It is more or less in the IT hub and very well connected. Metro Phase 2 will basically have a metro station very near to the project as well. So I think from a location and a developer perspective, very good. In terms of pricing, it is roughly about, the phase 2 is about 6,250 rupees a square feet, which is also reasonable for that area. So on the whole, I would give a thumbs up on this particular investment.
Thumbs up for that investment, but tell us this, Mudassir. He's talking of buying 2,500 square feet of space. Typically, people go in for huge floor plates in IT-driven markets like Bangalore. How easy will it be for him to actually lease out this kind of space, and what kind of rentals can he expect over here?
See, most markets like these, which generally lease out to very large clients, generally, as you rightly said, the floor plates are much larger. Average size in that location would be in the range of about, 40 to 50,000 square feet. What developers do is they take up the responsibility of leasing it out in large sizes. For a developer to really sell out smaller units and then not for end investors to not be able to lease it out and then see vacancy in those places is not good for the project as well. So generally it's a win-win situation for the developer as well as for the investor. The developer will sell it out in a way, kind of in a starter manner, a starter sale of various units to various investors, but will take up the opportunity of clubbing it and kind of giving it off to a larger lessee at one go. So that helps both sides. It generates cash flow in tight situations, and it also gives out smaller investors an opportunity to invest in prestigious projects where generally larger lessees take up spaces.
Very quickly, you mentioned straighter sale over here. Is there anything specific that buyers need to look out for, investors need to look out for when they're getting into these kind of deals?
There is generally a concept called virtual space that sometimes developers use. One needs to be careful that it should not be that what happens is in virtual spaces, developers don't really give out any specific area on the floor plate. It could be anywhere on the floor plate. So that could be an issue sometimes where you don't know where exactly your property lies within that entire project. So one should be careful about that aspect. If one is able to earmark a certain space. So for example, somebody wants to use it for himself at a later point in time and doesn't want to lease it out, or wants to sell it off, and is able to kind of earmark a certain space which is premium, has better access or better visibility or better positioning on the floor plate. It is better to be able to really carve it out physically on the floor plate rather than having a virtual space out there. So there's one concept that one needs to really be aware of. Sometimes early investors are not able to figure out what is the difference between this, and can get stuck with developers who are not able to lease it out.
Right, so that's a key takeaway coming your way right at the top of the show. Commercial property is a great asset to invest in, especially considering the fact that you also get to earn 10% and upwards of 10% rentals on commercial space as compared to residential. But certain things that you need to be very clear about. One is, if you are looking to buy commercial property in IT-driven markets, and a small floor plate really doesn't cut it. But if you are getting an offer for a small floor plate, it's probably a straighter sale. If it is a straighter sale, what you do need to look out for is the concept of virtual space. Do not agree to buy into anything unless and until you know exactly where the space you're getting is marked on that floor plate. It will be a part of a bigger floor plate, but you need to ensure that it is physically marked so you know what you are actually buying, what you're actually paying for. That's something you need to keep in mind. Kapil Kalia has dialed in with our next question from Delhi. Kapil, how can we help you?
Yeah, I just want to know the future prospects of buying an affordable housing project in Gurgaon. To be specific, I would like to know the prospects of Supertech Basera project in Sector 79.
Supertech Basera in Sector 79. What are the future prospects? Mudassir, if I'm not mistaken, most of the Gurgaon affordable housing projects are coming with a lock-in period.
That's right. The affordable housing projects in Gurgaon are under the Haryana affordable housing policy. Now this policy is quite watertight in what it gives out. In terms of sizes, it's pretty clear what sizes are available. The rates are fixed. The timelines of delivery are fixed. So in that case, there is a huge pressure on the developer to be able to deliver as per what has been promised in terms of timelines, in terms of the layouts one can give. There's not too much of changes, etc., that can be done. Generally, these housing, these affordable housing complexes are coming up in good locations as well. They're not really stuck in some far-off location or anything like that. 79 is a good location in Gurgaon. So my sense is affordable housing projects are a good buy, and however there are restrictions, as you rightly said. Lock-ins are one. The other is nobody who already has a flat in a project or a property should be able to buy an affordable housing one. This is largely the objective of this is largely for people who don't have properties, are not economically strong enough to have the expensive properties that are generally available in Gurgaon. It is obviously overall applicable into Haryana, but Gurgaon per se has had a decent run in terms of these projects. So my sense is definitely a good buy. It doesn't really matter too much in terms of who the developer is. As I had already pointed out, it is very, very tightly governed in terms of what they have to offer. Supertech itself is a decent name, has been there in the market, more of a Noida developer, less of a Gurgaon one, but has been there in the market for quite some time.
Right. Also, Mudassir, from what we can see, the chart that's on our screen, Sector 79 is currently averaging around 4,500 rupees per square foot. But what are these affordable housing projects actually priced at, the ones that are coming into this particular locality?
See, the affordable pricing is roughly around 4,500. The only benefit being that these are smaller units. These are tightly governed, and therefore what you're getting is of units in much smaller ticket sizes. So it's always so instead of getting 1,000 plus square feet per se, which is priced at 45 lakhs and above, you're getting much smaller units in the range of between 14-15 lakhs going up to 24-25 lakhs. That's the range that one can get at. So people who don't have large amounts to spend will be able to get these at affordable size, even though these are much small sizes and generally will not be very comfortable for large families. But I'm sure people who don't have much of a choice will definitely look at this as an option. Plus, it's a great investment option. There's a much larger demand pool for these available in this vicinity.
So couple good buy over there and a good investment option as well, though you need to keep in mind that you should not have a home in anywhere within Haryana. Only then can you actually qualify to buy a home in these projects. Also, the other thing that you need to remember is that there is a lock-in period of around 3 to 5 years in all of these projects. So you will have to hold the property for at least that much time, and a little more if you really want to see significant appreciation over there. But like Mudassir said, there is significant demand for these homes. Homes are also priced around 4,500 rupees per square foot, which is the going rate in that particular area. However, the sizes are smaller, so they will be more lesser, or they will they will end up costing lesser for you. Let's move on with that to an email query now. Ameya Murdeshwar says that he's looking to purchase a property in Mumbai's eastern suburbs. He already has a 1 BHK in Mulund East, which is going in for redevelopment. Now he wants to buy a property to reside in during the redevelopment phase as well as for investment. He's found a 1 BHK in Bhandup East and a 2 BHK in Kanjurmarg East. He prefers the Kanjurmarg flat. Should he hold on to his Mulund flat and buy a second 1 BHK in Bhandup, or should he sell the Mulund property and opt for the 2 BHK flat in Kanjurmarg? Mudassir, what would you suggest? And it's very interesting how he's concentrating on the eastern side of the suburbs, which we know are maybe not as flashy or as developed as the western parts of Mumbai. And at the same time, these also cost much lesser as compared to homes in the western parts of the suburbs. What would you say?
In times in the last 5-7 years, the differentiation between the western side and the eastern side is slowly diminishing. There used to be time that there was a huge difference between the west and the east, but because a lot of and a slew of newer projects have come about in the last 5-7 years in all these locations, be it the eastern suburbs or the western suburbs, but a lot of new land was available on the eastern side of the railway lines. This differentiation is slowly changing. Now he's obviously looked at, he already has something in Mulund, he is now wanting it in Kanjurmarg and in Bandu. This is all in the same vicinity, one after the other. This is Kanjurmarg, Ghatkobar, Mulund, Bandu, all in the similar vicinity, all similar in terms of the type of people living there, similar in terms of the availability of infrastructure, similar in terms of social infrastructure, etc., etc. So not too much a difference. But Bhandup, to some extent, maybe yes, it is still an upcoming area, but Kanjurmarg and Mulund are all established areas that ways. If I approach it in a slightly different manner, my opinion, or rather my suggestion would be that in today's time, when it is a buyer's market, if he is able to hold on to something and buy more, I think that would be a good thing. We are seeing now a lot of things that I've been talking about since the last year or so are now beginning to happen, which is RERA already coming about, GST already being passed, GTB we are talking about, others, a lot of these banks as well as RBI are talking about a 7.5% and above. We're looking at inflation being talked about at about 4% for the next year. So all these will eventually go into helping the property markets come out of the dumps and should start moving up in terms of prices. So if he's able to hold on and buy more, since it is a buyer's market, he should be able to get a decent deal, and hopefully in the next few years he would be able to reap the dividends out of this decision. So my opinion is he should hold on and buy more since it's a buyer's market.
Now, Mudassir, he's very clearly said that the one option that he is looking at is holding on to the Mulund property and buying a flat in Bhandup, is what he's saying. So would you suggest that he just, like you said, Bhandup is still an emerging market. So should he just go buy in Bhandup, a 1 BHK in Bhandup, like he says, and hold on to that Mulund property and then use that as, use that to actually make an investment later on somewhere else for a bigger flat in some other market?
I would say so. Instead of selling out on the Mulund flat at the moment, my suggestion would be for him to buy more. Obviously, it will be a slightly smaller sized apartment at the moment, since he's not going to be getting any inflows from a sale. But I think it would be a wiser decision right now to hold both. Eventually, when the markets improve, which I expect them to do in the next year and a half, and then you should be able to then sell and get into something substantial by when the markets start moving up and there is bullishness back in the market.
Right, Ameya, so that's your verdict there. Hold on to that flat in Mulund. Look at buying that 1 BHK in Bhandup. It's anyway an investment, so it need not be very big. And then combine both of them together after the market turns around, sell it, and then invest in a bigger property or a better location. Facebook query next, Manmeet Ghatlia says that he plans to sell his flat size 330 square feet at Bandra East. It is situated in a 50-year-old MADA building. Now he wants to buy a 1,000 square feet flat at Bhayandar in a 21-year-old resale property using the sale proceeds. He asks if this is a wise decision. Mudassir, that's a very interesting question. Would you sell Bandra to buy Bhayandar? And that to an old building in Bhayandar?
Yeah, very difficult. I mean, obviously Bandra is a very, very different micro market compared to a Bhayandar, which is very far towards the western suburbs itself. However, the size of the flat that he's talking about for him, it's almost 3 times that he's kind of looking at. If he's okay to move from a place like Bandra, which is considered far more happening and far more acceptable compared to a Bhayandar, obviously that decision is his and he should definitely consider that. The only point that I would like to make is on the selling of a 50-year-old building versus buying a 21-year-old flat in a building of that age. My suggestion would be that he should look at, unless that building really is very, very nicely maintained and very, very up to date in terms of the upkeep of it, etc. My suggestion would be that he should look at things that are much nearer, because 20 years ago, Bhayandar wasn't a very a place where people were going in droves. So therefore, the kind of properties built in 20 years ago, 25 years ago, wouldn't be top notch in terms of quality, but largely for the price as such. So he should look at the building per se. It's not a general rule that 20-year-old building can't be well maintained and should not be bought into, nothing like that. There are much more older buildings available in the southern and western parts of Mumbai, which are very, very nicely maintained and are sometimes even much more in demand than newer buildings. So he should look at that in a specific case, but the general rule is that a building less than 5 to 7 years of age would be far better. Because there would be newer construction, less of wear and tear. Most buildings are generally planned for 40 to 50-year-old lifespans. But we start seeing badly maintained buildings and poor quality construction buildings, etc., starting to show their age upwards of 25 years in them.
One more thing that I wanted to ask you here. Now, I'm looking at the prices that we are showing on the screen. Bandra East is priced around 27,000 rupees per square foot. Now, that will not be the price he'll obviously get for a 50-year-old flat. However, Bandra being Bandra, he should at least get something. I'm guessing he should get something bit in the 15 to 20,000 rupees per square foot range. If he were to invest that, and he's looking at Bhayandar, which is priced around averaging around 7,000 rupees per square foot. Are there any other markets that he should probably be looking at, which would probably come within his budget? Maybe not that big a flat, but still.
See, it clearly looks like that he's sticking towards the western suburbs. And a reasonable size, to a reasonable 2 BHK size would be about 1,000 odd square feet. So anything, so basically if you exactly said about 7,000 there and about 20 odd thousand in Bandra, which is exactly roughly one third of the value, or roughly 3 times the size. So it's the numbers actually are matching up. So 7,000 to 21,000 versus 330 to about 1,000 square feet. Other markets which are priced in that vicinity are going to be maybe Mira Road, which is also significantly expensive now, nearing the 8,000-10,000 rupee mark. But there could be properties available which are in that 7,000-8,000 rupee, 6,000 to 8,000 rupee range, which might not be the most top-notch, but are available much nearer to where he currently lives on the western suburbs. So Mira Road and around that place might be a good buy, where there are opportunities available and their prices are not as high. But this is certainly going to be above, or rather northwards of Borivali, which is above a 10,000 rupee mark in most circumstances.
So essentially, Manmeet, what you can do is try and look to coming towards a little bit towards Borivali. You can look at the Mira Road market as well. And if you are if you've made up your mind to actually go ahead and buy in Bhayandar, you could actually look at buying into a newer property, unless this property that you've zeroed in on is really, really well maintained. Grishma Mathur has dialed in from Mumbai. Grishma, how can we help you?
Yeah, hi. I am an investor with a budget of like 30-35 lakh rupees. I am investing in a place called Sheel Fata, the Golden Triangle, which people are calling nowadays. I have shortlisted 3 properties, that is Dosti North Planet, Bharat Eco Vista, and Bhumi Lawns with Gajra, Bhumi Gajra. Just wanted to know which is the best, which project will give me a good returns with a view of 5 to 7 years.
5 to 7 year view. She's looking at the Sheel Fata market, 30 to 35 lakh rupees budget. And she's also listed her 3 projects, Mudassir, Dosti, Bharat and Bhumi Gajra. These are the developers that she's looking at. Which one should she pick?
So overall, the Sheel Fata market is now quite active. A lot of developers have taken interest in that location. The first among them was the Lodha Palava project, which is around that location. And that kind of started off the hope towards developers looking at that as a destination. Now the good thing about here is that because land is available in larger quantities, most development sizes are large. Most will be in the range of about 10 to 25 acres. So there will be larger projects available with better amenities rather than individual buildings with almost no amenities available as there are available in most parts of Mumbai. So from that angle, it is good. The entire Navi Mumbai Thane belt, which is also very, very active in terms of commercial, IT, and industrial as well, is accessible. It's not very, very near, but it is not very far as well. So it is accessible, so people can stay and work around from these locations. My sense is it's a good area to look at. Out of the three projects that have been shortlisted, my suggestion would be to look at between the three. I think Dosti has a far longer track record available. The projects are far more, what they've developed towards Vadala, etc., has also been quite well accepted. And so therefore this would be, between the three, this would be something that my suggestion would go towards. Others, not that the others are bad or anything like that. Bhumi and Gajra have had a good track record largely towards Navi Mumbai. But I would among the three, if this has been looked at and it's all within the budget that she's talking about, I think Dosti would be a better bet.
Right, Grishma, and I do recall that you had called in earlier with a question on whether Sheel Fata as an area is a good area to invest in. We had asked you to go and do your homework and get back to us. So yes, you have come back with a short list, and Mudassir's pick is Dosti. So you can actually go ahead and look at investing in Dosti. Though at the end of the day, you will have to do your own due diligence, you will have to do your research and ensure that a lawyer takes a look at those documents before you sign on the property lines. With that, we are reaching an end of our show of Property Hotline today. Mudassir, thank you very much for joining us. But before we leave, quick takeaways for you. Commercial property, like we told you earlier, is a good investment bet. It offers rentals of 10% and above. However, when you're buying office space, do not buy. Ensure that your office space is physically marked. This is very important. If you are buying in a strata sale and you're buying, you're one of the investors in a huge floor plate, ensure that your office is physically marked. That's it on today's episode of Property Hotline. If you have any questions related to real estate, you know how to get in touch with us. Our IDs are flashing on your screens over there. We'll get the country's top experts to answer each and every one of your questions. Thank you very much for tuning in. Keep watching Magicbricks Now.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.